But then we'll be back.
Well, as soon as you get a decent mindset.
Yeah, no, she's okay. Over. All right, guys ready? Good morning. Let's call it September 28th, 23 BCAG Board of Directors meeting. Order, and first up, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call roll.
Board Member Connolly?
Here.
Board Member Durkee?
Here.
Board Member Ritter? Board Member Kimmelchew?
Here.
Board Member Teeter?
Here.
Board Member Knuckles? Board Member Reynolds? Board Member Calderon?
Here.
Board Member Pittman?
Here.
Board Member Tryon? Here.
Of course, so here we go. Any public comment by electronically on anyone up here like to pull something from the consent agenda or talk about the consent agenda? Be out there. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're not zooming in, are we?
Yeah.
Call a roll. You got
No members, though.
If it's a Zoom meeting, I think, by law, we have to call a roll.
It's members of the public who are zoomed in, not members of.
Oh, okay, then it passes. Moving right along. I just want to make sure. Right. No items for action this month. Go home now. First up, number 7, it's a approval of transit.
Morning,
Asset
morning.
management.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm over here.
Hey, there you are.
Good morning. So my item is the approval of the transit asset management plan revision for the next cycle, which is 23-27. Every transit agency receiving federal assistance must develop a transit asset management plan, or TAM plan is what we call it, and it complies with 49 USC Chapter 53 regulations. The designated accountable executive for the agency ensures resources are available to implement the plan. Every 4 years, the plan must be completely reviewed and updated in its entirety. So it's completely redone. Every aspect is revisited. Every year, we will also complete the annual performance target review, and the agency must present the plan update to the responsible MPO, which is the board, and the State Department. The agency's TAM plan outlines the people, tools, and processes used to address asset management policy and goals. It provides accountability and visibility for the agency's goals and practices. It also helps support planning, budgeting, communications for internal and external stakeholders. While the agency strives to meet these targets, there's no specific penalty for missing a calculation, and such an event would be addressed during the annual plan review process. The updated plans, targets, and proposed investments have been adjusted since 2019, which is the last plan implementation, to account for additional vehicle age, expected service changes, and the agency's current work towards meeting state requirements for alternative fuel vehicles in the next 2 years. The other main update was to the fleet listing, as we have disposed and purchased revenue vehicles within the past. The updated TAM plan for BCAG line has been completed. Our four-year plan cycle occurs in September. This plan will cover the period of September 23 through August 27. Annual reviews will also be completed by the end of each September. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments by board members? Any public comment? Moving on. Number 8, 2024 Regional Transportation Improvement Development.
Morning, board. BCAG is required to prepare and adopt a regional transportation improvement program by December 15th of this year for the 2024 State Transportation Improvement Program. BCAG issued a call for projects for $8.4 million in new programming capacity, developed with a fund estimate provided by the California Transportation Commission. Staff has identified 4 basic requirements for new programming consideration cited in the STIP guidelines. They are: the project has to be in BCAG's Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy. Local sponsoring agency has to develop a project study report or equivalent that scopes and vets the project out. Has to develop performance metrics for which they are achieving as applicable. And they need to prepare an electronic project programming request form in the CalSmart system by Caltrans. In addition, BCAG has indicated to the jurisdictions that project evaluations will be based on the goals of the Climate Action Plan for Transportation Infrastructure developed by Governor's Executive Orders N1919 and N7920. The executive orders and resulting CAPTI documents define more specific environment for which all transportation funding is programmed through RTPAs and NPOs in California. Priority areas are greenhouse gas reductions, VMT reductions, mode shift, equity, safety, that sort of stuff, serving underrepresented. Staff has received 8 projects from the local jurisdictions for programming. The first one is the Big 2nd Street Bicycle Pedestrian Improvement Project. This project is on 2nd Street from West Benito Road to H Street. The project is to construct new pedestrian and bike facilities to connect to other existing routes in the city with new curb and gutter improvements, ADA compliant accessibility, access ramps, and drainage improvements. That's really right next to the high school there. And there's a big drainage kind of dip where it has some kids in the past. Anyway, so it provides a new path, connectivity, high school, other bike and ped improvements.
No sidewalk.
I interrupt you on that.
Yes, sir.
So is this a project that's gonna happen?
The city of Biggs is requesting $700,000 for the construction component. So the other environmental design and right-of-way are done.
Good.
It's a good project.
The hard part's done
Exactly.
then.
The next project, Ashley? The next project is City of Chico's Eaton Road, State Route 99 Roundabout Project. The city is requesting $6.3 million for the construction component. This project will essentially mirror the roundabout on side of State Route 99. It will improve the congestion there, better safety and whatnot. The purpose is to improve circulation at the intersection by reducing vehicle delay, lowering air quality emissions, minimizing collision frequency and severity, and removing barriers to active transportation. Currently, the intersection operates at an unacceptable level of service and experiences collisions due to improper turning, unsafe safe speed, and failure to, like Brian, who works in our office and lives out.
I live up there too.
All the
I
time.
confirm it as well. It's absolutely horrible if you're coming off at 99, you're having to go left. I just want to confirm on this though, will be a large roundabout, correct? And big enough for a truck to get through? To the fact of, because of this and the new roundabout, Kiefer Road has turned into a thoroughfare for big rigs, and it's destroying the road, as well as it's single lanes a lot of places, so, because I get it, I wouldn't want to take a left off of here if I was in a big rig either, but if we have a roundabout that's large enough, it'll make it safe for them to get to the airport that direction.
Asking questions, and I do want to point out, we do have, some of the local works staff with us here in person and online, so please, if you have any questions.
Question about that roundabout as well. We know on on the east side, that it was not built, to accommodate construction that we're going to see out there. And so I'm curious about whether we are looking at the future development on the west side and whether this is going to be built to accommodate future construction there.
Good question for the city of Chico.
Good morning, thank you. Is this on? Can you hear me? All right, I guess you can hear me probably. So I think there's a false perception on the capacity of that roundabout on the east side. It is built to handle its intended build-out capacity of that area, that region. There's the North Chico specific plan. There has always been, as part of the county adopted North Chico specific plan, other access routes. So it was never intended for Hicks Lane and that eastern roundabout to handle all the capacity for all traffic generated from the future development. So there's other elements to the larger circulation network, which would be a connection over to Gardner Lane. So I know county and city of Chico staff previously had coordinated efforts to update that specific plan, which then kind of deteriorated, and I believe there's some new owners up in that area that are looking to maybe bring that back forward and develop their own specific plan. So I'll be part of that evaluation. From our analysis of the larger area, really the constraint from a circulation and traffic perspective is the bridge overcrossing, single lane in each direction. So the roundabouts are designed.
Over 99.
Yes, yeah. So the roundabouts are designed with 2 lanes of traffic, designed to handle all that capacity. Really, the constraint will be the bridge overcrossing Highway 99. You know, we do have a lot of Pacific Building Materials is right there to answer the question on trucks. We've actually seen plenty of trucks using the roundabout safely, functionally. We've seen a huge reduction in the backup onto the main line of Highway 99 at peak hour traffic too. So from our perspective, it's been operating in an acceptable way and designed to handle future build out.
Go through there almost daily, and I really is the fact that, you know, anybody that lives in North Chico, Kiefer, Garner, if you're coming from that direction, as you can see what's blowing up, when you get off of southbound 99, having to go eastbound.
Left turn.
Because now Eaton goes all the way to Pleasant Valley High School. It's not safe.
Right.
It's not safe to have to go left because there's not, due to the roundabout, no longer stop signs. It's not slowing people down or stopping them on the other side of the intersection. So a roundabout, gotta do something. So
Yeah.
We have a date roughly.
I believe we're shooting for the 2026 timeframe for construction. So we're working through our environmental design and all those other preliminary engineering phases. So I think we're in the 26 calendar year really to start construction.
With Courtesy Motors.
Yeah.
And I don't allow my family members to even get off at Eaton. I tell them go down to East Avenue and take a left.
Yeah.
It's just not safe.
Yeah, we've seen increased development activity, obviously, along the Eaton corridor to the east there. You have the Amberlin subdivision along Eaton Road, Bill Webb's Hicks Lane subdivision currently under construction. They're on phase 1, looking to move to phase 2 next year. and then he'll have a third phase. And then again, the accommodation of the future North Chico specific plan on the north side of Sycamore Creek there. So, yeah, and then as you mentioned, Gardner Lane's gonna be significantly impacted. Humane Society, Courtesy Motors, obviously Cardin Veiled there, Aquatic Center concepts. So we're really looking at this area holistically. We also have a North Esplanade widening project that has been in the works, trying to coordinate with PG&E right now and underground the overhead lines, which has been a challenge, but we do have that project also slated to be completed in the next few years.
How would it be, I mean, if you had one eastbound bridge and one westbound bridge, like instead of having these 3 lanes that then vents down into one?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Bridge is expensive,
Right. Yeah. No, structure widening is obviously an opportunity to increase the capacity there. Yeah, on the eastern roundabout, you can see where you come off the roundabout to go over the bridge. It has kind of a condensed transition lane. And so that is stuff that we will be looking at. Our goal next year is to probably begin a larger citywide circulation plan that would go into our development impact fee nexus program and identify those types of circulation constraints. And so we'd identify projects like that that need to increase capacity to handle all the growth.
You talked about possibly beginning this in '26. Have funds been allocated for this, or if they have?
Yes. Yeah, we have some local funds already programmed for it. We also have $500,000 from Caltrans through their SHOP program. We got them to pitch in money, so we have other funds. This request would basically fully fund the project for delivery.
And it's got to be way more than $500,000 to build that roundabout.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, that's why we're requesting $6.3 million. That would make up the difference that we
Okay.
need to complete the project based on the cost, obviously on the other side, and kind of cost escalations with materials and all that. Is that all the questions? All right, thank you.
Next project.
Who cares about big bike lane?
Next project is the City of Chico's Downtown Complete Streets project. The City of Chico is requesting $2 million for the environmental component. This project is located on Main Street and on Broadway Street from the Esplanade to 11th Street, near Bidwell Mansion, all the way through just past Highway 30. The purpose of the project is to construct new bike lanes, wider sidewalks, improve crossing, traffic calming measures, and landscaping. The project is to enhance the safety, accessibility, and connectivity, active transportation options within the downtown area. The downtown area currently has limited accessibility and gaps in connectivity to existing and programmed bike and pedestrian networks, hindering overall livability and economic. Really, the city wants to reinvent the downtown with better bike and ped access. We're asking for $2 million. Questions on that?
Can you, sorry. They're asking for $2 million for the environmental component, meaning they're asking $2 million for the study? Or?
For the initial component. There's a bigger effort to go through the environmental component, which would put the city in a better position to go after state or federal grant funding as the state's active transportation program. Probably, what, a $30 million project?
Yeah, they're auto.
Sorry, I didn't even say my name last time. Brendan Ottoboni, City of Chico. Yeah, the intention is this funding would give us preliminary design and environmental phase funding so that we can leverage that, as Yvonne mentioned, for an active transportation grant application next June. We'll be kicking off our city council. We're going to be going to city council starting after the new year. We'll start in December. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. Start in December with our internal affairs committee. and then end up at city council hopefully in the February timeframe and have a plan adopted prior to the June application deadline for ATP projects. So obviously downtown right now doesn't have any bike and ped facilities. We're really excited about this one, obviously kind of reimagine downtown. We have a project that's an ATP awarded project from a few years ago. They'll begin next summer doing the Class 4 cycle track up the Esplanade on that eastern side in the old railroad track alignment. And so this would tie in very well with that. There's other concepts working up Humboldt Road to do a bike corridor there. So this would really kind of connect those gaps. As a part of this project, we'd also be looking at 3rd and 4th Streets of doing some connectivity to Bidwell Park with the overall objective of having connectivity for destinations from downtown to points of interest, obviously, in the city of Chico, i.e. Bidwell Park, campus, those types of things.
And are these protected lanes, or are these just sharrows, or what is this?
So we haven't fully defined the scope. We have concepts right now, so I don't want to commit to something without our city council buying into it first, because it is such a transformative project. So that's what we'll be discussing. We have 2 alternatives right now that we're looking at, different Class 2s that would be protected since Main and Broadway are one way. And then one of the other recommendations would be doing a Class 4 cycle track on street or at sidewalk grade potentially on Main Street. To make those connections. Thank you.
Project. Next project is the City of Chico State Route 99 and Southgate Improvement Project. The City of Chico is requesting $3.6 million for the environmental component. At State Route 99 and Southgate intersection, the city is proposing a new Southgate interchange. This project is to improve traffic operations and accommodate anticipated travel demand due to planned development.
So we're just in the environmental stage on this particular project. Where are we? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm getting my steps in. It's only like 10 steps, but yeah, so this has been a long envisioned plan. Somehow the city of Chico became the lead agency on this. It's really truly a regional project, obviously affecting southern part of Chico for future development, but also is going to serve a large portion of county residents as well as Paradise residents of a significant reduction in VMT, that's for sure, but a safer option to get directly to Highway 99 from Paradise. And so we completed a PSR, which is a project study report, in 2012. And so it's kind of been on the back burner. There's a special planning area on that western portion of the Southgate Highway 99 intersection. So really a lot of it's designed to accommodate a lot of that, but again, also the regional needs. So this funding would pay for the preliminary engineering and environmental phase. So we haven't completed the environmental yet.
This is a project that obviously we would be interested in. Provides another evacuation route if necessary, and it also really needs that traffic there at the.
Yeah, and one of the big benefits of this project as well, obviously it's multi-phased, and it would be built out over a long period of time. But it would also eliminate 2 traffic signals on the highway system at Southgate, as well as the States Drive down there. So you can see Player Lane would be a frontage road that would access a States Drive down there for Butte Creek Country Club area. And so we would eliminate both of those on-system traffic signals.
Is this also connected to some other projects that are in the works?
Well, this is a pretty extensive, you can see there's a lot of connections made through this. There's the Notre Dame extension. Over there's the Southgate Skyway connection. There's the Southgate extension over to Midway. We would incorporate bike and ped connectivity through this project as well. And then there's the Entler extension up to Fair Street. So by nature of this one project, we're creating 4 or 5 different new connections to existing roadways.
And creating new extensions for future development?
New development, as well as I think, again, there's a lot of other benefits to the project, eliminating the safety element of eliminating traffic signals that on the highway system where people are obviously driving at high speeds. You have the evacuation element. One of the things we learned from the campfire was Skyway and Highway 99 was one of the pinch points and bottlenecks that cause a lot of backups, and so this would provide a more direct, uninhibited path from Paradise. Because on Skyway, when you go through Chico, there's 6 or 7 different traffic signals. So this would be for sure a more direct connection to Highway 99.
The state, sorry,
No.
is the state's it would be closed off then completely, correct? You don't have an option to get on and off there.
At Southgate? Oh, at the
From
state?
Q3, 'cause you have to take a plate,
Correct.
closed off, you don't give people options.
Yep.
To make the wrong.
It would be completely closed off.
That's with, in
Yes.
accordance to the, we require that.
If we get rid of a stoplight and it wasn't, gave an option, people will still try to skip it.
That would be an extremely unsafe
Exactly.
situation, yes.
Perfect, just checking.
Yep.
And so the city boundary line is Southgate, essentially? Do you know where the city limits ends?
Just south of there,
Okay.
well, I don't know currently where it is, but our sphere of influence goes down
Okay.
close to Estates Drive. Because again, there's a special planing area there on that south part of Southgate Avenue on the west side of Highway 99. And so that, as a single property owner that could come forward with a specific plan and start to develop that at some point in the
Just to
future.
reiterate that what Supervisor Reed said, is that no plan development at this point in that area.
Correct.
Right? Unless it
South
gets
of there.
it-
Well,
it's just
there's the effluence line that is slated to come down here from Paradise. So that's part of this design. And then the planned development that is on the southeast side of Highway 99 is the other consideration.
But those are both, would have to be annexed into the city.
What do you
Oh,
mean?
we could approve it at the county if we wanted to.
Well, I mean, so they don't have to be annexed into the city for this to be.
No, not this, but for the
And if
development.
this happens, then it is paving the way for those
Right.
two projects,
Mhm.
so.
What I would add is,
County and cities paying, county paying for development.
I would add, 2 quick things to your point. We've coordinated with Paradise, obviously, on the alignment of their sewer to go down this future alignment of the Southgate. So we've been coordinating that for several years. I know there's, plans for, the Everybody Healthy Body facility. So again, we've coordinated with them that they were originally trying to get access off of Estates Drive. Caltrans says, no, we don't allow that. So the intent was to make that Skyway, Southgate Avenue intersection like a 4-way stop. That would become the main entrance if that project ever comes to fruition. And then also that Southgate Avenue connection on the west to Midway, that would alleviate a lot of the traffic that comes from this area, the Hagen Business Park area. Rather than having to use Park Avenue, those trips would be able to go south down Midway, use Southgate to get direct access to Highway 99. So it would alleviate a lot of other traffic congestion issues on that south part of Chico.
With the extension going into Midway and over to Skyway, are there any private property rights issues?
Yeah, there would be definite property acquisitions. There's gonna be some tough ones. The orchards on that west side, we've had discussions over the years with the property owner. I think there's willingness there to work that out. The acquisitions along the freeway, I think, will be the most challenging because you have the Peterson Tractor facility as well as I think it's Wood Brothers Carpet, and those would essentially be in the way of the on and off ramps. So those would be impactful to those. So those would be challenges we'd have to work through as we get to the right-of-way phase, which comes after environmental approval of the project. So we're years and years and years away from that. Peterson Tractor, actually a couple years ago, did do a remodel. We coordinated and communicated with them the future intentions so that they didn't put an investment into a property that then would be in the future likely, demolished. And they're aware of it. They're fine with it. again, sequencing would be multi-phase project, so we would really keep it at grade probably for the first few phases, with probably that Southgate, Skyway connection being phase one, the connection over to Midway being like a phase two type of project, and then ultimately the whole interchange being the last phase once we get to that point. That'll be all analyzed through the environmental element of this project.
What do you think the timeline is? I mean, just not hoping to hold you to.
So we've been intending to get this out for a couple years. One, we have some limitations with our staffing ability and availability. So with this, I think we've staffed up in the last few months. We've hired about 8 folks from existing vacancies. And so we're getting to the point where we have the capacity. We're getting some projects completed and off our plates here. So I'd imagine if with the funding of this, the environmental phase is going to take a few years. Depending on funding for right-of-way and construction phases would likely dictate that. But at a minimum, we're probably 4 to 5 years away from ever being able to start on an initial phase.
That's optimistic.
Yes. That would be extremely aggressive.
Yeah.
But we have pretty aggressive plans to get things done in Chico.
Moving right along.
All
Cool,
right.
thank you.
Project. The next project is Butte County's Palermo Safe Routes to School project. County is requesting $2.6 million for the right-of-way and construction component. Project is located within the community of Palermo in South Butte County. Project limits are as follows: Lincoln Boulevard from Palermo Road to Baldwin Avenue, Gonza Avenue from Lincoln Boulevard to the end, Baldwin Avenue from Lincoln Boulevard to Hewitt Avenue, Hewitt Avenue from Palermo Road to Baldwin Avenue, Bulldog Way from the end to Hewitt Avenue, and Palermo Road from Lincoln Boulevard to Hewitt Avenue. Throughout the above listed project extents, the project proposes to construct new 8-foot shared bike pedestrian path, storm drainage, pavement striping, signage, and roadway reflectors. Essentially, the project will add a safe perimeter for kids to traverse around the Palermo school vicinity. Project, the county's been working on it. This would bring it to fruition and complete that area, and it also ties to other improvements that the county for the last couple years.
And it rains, kids walking the road.
I would add to that too. My grandsons go there and it's very difficult even to pick your kids up there because the roads are so narrow. Shoulders are just not there. So this is a huge project. I certainly.
The next project is the city of Orville's Washington Avenue Complete Streets project. The city of Orville is requesting $2 million for the construction component. Project is located on Washington Avenue between Oradam Boulevard East and the railroad bridge just past Orange Avenue near the Montgomery Street roundabout. Project aims to provide alternative transportation and mode shift choices to the Orville community by rehabilitating the roadway with enhanced bike pedestrian features and provide for a better north-south connectivity. Project also ties to the city's State Route 162 active transportation project slated for construction in the summer of 2024. The city really has barriers with north-south movement in our community. This really gets it going.
20 years ago, they tried to widen out where the current mayor and myself were around politics, and they got shot down. So one of those things, you delay it and you pay more and get less. Really happy for it.
Appreciate that. I might ask our new public works director to come to the podium real quick. You introduce yourself and then Josh too.
Okay, come on up. Good morning. My name is Fred Mayo. I've been the Public Works Director for the City of Oroville. I think this is week 8, so it's pretty new to the position still.
I want to add here
came in the door, I said, hey, you got a deadline to meet, and Ivan's not gonna give you any leeway, so these guys put these projects together, many others, in a very short period of time, so I wanna give compliments to that. Didn't know what they were walking into, but, here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this is, Josh, I'll allow him to introduce himself.
I'm Josh Freitas, I'm the engineer for the city of Oroville, been here since, started as an intern, in June of last year, and then got hired on as a engineer as soon as I graduated from college.
I'd like to add, this now ties in all the new hundreds of apartments that have been built in Thermalito, Grand, and Table Mountain. We're looking at probably 400 new apartments that will have a nice link to the schools, to the hospitals, the downtown activities, and if you can put a bicycle pedestrian thing in here, it'll be a huge plus.
You can see on the map right there how close the schools are.
Yeah, I'd like to add in that, 3 schools, will benefit from this bike lane pedestrian mode shift, project. We're reimagining this corridor of Washington Avenue. We've heard transformative, which 162 is, but this is being reimagined. It's a pretty ambitious project that's really gonna help connect north and south Oroville, which is desperately needed, especially with, like the mayor mentioned, all the new housing units that are being built out on Table Mountain. So it's a much needed project.
Supervisor Conley is correct, it should have been 6 years ago. And I'm not sure we can fix it all together, but there's a nice lot of alternatives. And I also want to compliment BCAG staff for meeting with the city numerous times to put this thing together and give your direction. It's been a big help.
These are all proposals.
But we know what's gonna happen.
Moving on to the next project is the city of Oroville's Table Mountain Boulevard Complete Streets project, in which the city is requesting $500,000 for the design component. Really is a continuation of the Washington project up north. The project is located on Table Mountain Boulevard from the Montgomery Street roundabout to the Thermalito Power Canal near County Center Drive. The project aims to provide, again, alternative transportation and road shift choices for the Oroville community by rehabilitating the roadway with enhanced bike and facilities. This would really complete a north-south system for the city of Oroville and the county.
Also allows our county employees that work at the administrative offices ways to get downtown for lunches. It's been kind of a bottleneck for years, especially the bridge. So, very good project to see.
And as you just stated, it really provides choice for all the development of the affordable housing that the city. One thing I do want to add, it really sets up the city to go after state active transportation in the future.
Any questions for us? Thanks, folks.
To close up, project number 8 is a proposal by BCAG for the North Valley Rail Project. BCAG is requesting $2.5 million for the environmental component. The scope of the project is to complete just the environmental component only. The rail project proposes new passenger rail service to connect Sacramento, Natomas, area, to Chico. The system to transform regional and intercity transportation in the northern Sacramento, offering convenient, environmentally sustainable travel choice for residents, employees, and visitors in Yuba, Sutter, and northern Sacramento counties, with initial service of up to 4 round trips per day by 2030.
Just that is we're requesting $2.5 million for BCAG share of the STEP funding, RIP funds. We're also going to be recommending Caltrans contribute $5 million from their ITEP funds.
Environment,
Just the environmental.
$5 million,
$5 million.
an existing track.
You have stations, locations.
You said 4 round trips by, what was your projection, 2030?
Current estimate is 2033. Like, Executive Director Carr just said, this is really, this is a strategic part by BCAG to get a commitment from the state. And if we're able to achieve that, then that really opens the door for the deeper funding buckets.
So Yvonne, these are our requests. We don't know.
These are the proposals received. Again, BCAG has a fund estimate of $8.4 million. Our request in funding of these 8 projects is a little over $20 million. Staff will be providing a preliminary draft recommendation, BCAG's Transportation Advisory Committee next week, and a draft proposal to the BCAG board at the October board meeting. Option at the December.
Have these funds been allocated to us already, or
No,
they
no,
have
no.
not? So this is still just a request.
This is the first step in which staff is gonna put together a Regional Transportation Improvement Program document, the RTIP. Counterpart, and that's 75% of the state funding step. The 25%, the other piece is Caltrans's interregional improvement program, which we hope the rail project will be included for $2.5 million. So those 2 documents is the step.
But this is submitted to the California Transportation Commission, and then decides which project. This is our proposal, how we want to spend our RIP funds, some of the state STIP funds, look at it and make fun.
They can cherry pick as to which ones they want.
They can.
They not on.
They can. I mean, they can do any, projects that we present.
The commission cannot cherry pick projects. They accept or reject the RTIP in its entirety. They would advise us whether or not they can fund something or not, whether or not it fits within the financial constraints of the.
But what point, so the next meeting we have, we'll be approving.
The RTIP, no. The next meeting will be staff's draft recommendation.
Right.
For the RTIP. That's in October with adoption at the board meeting.
Okay.
We submit that to the state. The state will collect all of these RTIPs statewide, and then they're gonna see what can be funded and what's not. We will know whether our RTIP is accepted soon after.
Okay, so it may be in the spring of next year when we would know if.
We'll know by February.
Oh, okay.
What's gonna be presented to the commission at the March commission meeting.
Great.
Thanks for clarification. You just said it's either accepted in its entirety or not at all. So if we have, for example, 1 or 2 projects in here that the state says, ooh, that's not a great project, or ooh, there's a lawsuit going on with that, or that, could that potentially impact the entire RTIP being?
Yes, we'll be contacted beforehand if there's an issue or concern, and that is worked behind the scenes to try to come with an equitable, fair package or something that's supported by the commission, by Caltrans, by the California State Transportation Agency.
So that's what you would bring the amended or adapted plan to us in that next meeting.
Exactly right. After the RTIP is adopted, any changes would have to be presented to the board.
We've never had an RTIP accepted, correct, or have?
We've made changes after the fact on the Highway 70 corridor when we were proposing to fund portions in Yuba County. That was rescinded, and we were able to secure the funding through Caltrans's interregional improvement program for the entire.
I might add that we showed up to the hearings, nobody from Yuba County there, but we had funding, remember?
Quality maps go a long way.
So this shows that we have, shortfall. How does that affect our application?
Staff will be reviewing each of the projects and based on the criteria identified, VMT reduction, greenhouse gas, air quality, shift, equity, This
So
is
you
an-
guys
will whittle this down to get it
We have to.
under our
And can't we have asked for more than the 8.4?
Yes, BCAG as a small RTPA is able to request 200%. But I don't know if another agency has done that, but, we were able to. That will bring a package, no, we can't fund it, but staff is also aware that we have other funding available that may be better suited. We have carbon reduction program funds for 1.2 million, and we also have congestion mitigation and air quality that may be a better fit for some of these projects for the smaller agencies to stay out of the state arena. It also would enable BCAG to facilitate cost increases should agencies be in a. Whereas if it's programmed in the STIP, it's much more difficult, especially if we are fully programmed. There's different factors in consideration, project delivery, with your respective staff. I got my work cut out to try to make everybody happy.
Let's move on. Please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Butte Regional fourth quarter report.
Morning, Board. Staff is presenting key financial and statistical results for the Butte Regional Transit B-Line system for the fourth quarter and full fiscal year for 22-23. Attached tables present a summary of the key financial and operating results for Butte Regional Transit. Financial data presentation compares fourth quarter results to the annual budget and to the prior year. Since this is the final report for fiscal year 22-23, it will also cover the final annual numbers. Operations tables present a performance-based assessment in comparison to the same quarter of the prior fiscal year. The measures of revenue, expense, ridership, vehicle revenue hours, and passengers per vehicle revenue hour are broken down by 4 types of service: fixed route and paratransit, both urban and rural. The separation helps to define where improvements and issues are taking place. Accidents and complaints, gauging safety and customer satisfaction respectively, are analyzed for the system as a whole. Lack of riders continues to be an issue in meeting the annual fare box ratios previously mandated by the TDA, 10% for rural fixed, rural paratransit, and urban paratransit, and 20% for urban fixed. However, in July 2021, California AB 149 was passed that extended previous TDA exemptions from the fare box requirement through the end of fiscal year 22-23. It also changed the definition of local funds to allow any non-state funding as part of the fare box ratio. Change now allows federal support to be included as fare box, which effectively eliminates the risk of fare box shortfall, as federal support has historically been 35% of our total funding. Federal pandemic relief funding continues to cover lost fare revenues and represents 12% of the federal operating funds for the year. For the purpose of this report, fare box coverage is still shown as the percentage of fares to operating expense to illustrate the amount of federal and state subsidies. Overall ridership throughout the year has been trending upward. Over fiscal year 21-22. However, those gains are much more modest than the gains we saw in 21-22 over 2021. In this graph that you'll see on the screen is the ridership trends for 21-22 and 22-23. You'll see total fixed route ridership in blue, urban fixed route ridership in red, rural fixed route ridership in green, and the system-wide paratransit ridership in purple. Overall, these numbers are trending upward with expected fluctuations from student ridership at various times of the year. Rural fixed route fares came in at 11.4% of operating costs for the fiscal year. Ridership for the quarter was up 1.8% from the prior year quarter and up 11.1% for the year. Passenger fares exceeded the budgeted expectations, coming in at 108% of what was budgeted. Operating expenditures were 98% of the budget. Urban fixed route fares came in at 11.8% of operating costs for the fiscal year. This reflects that even though ridership is improving, we're still far below our pre-pandemic levels. Ridership did increase 12.4% compared to the prior year's quarter and is up 19.7% for the fiscal year. Passenger fares were 132% of the annual budgeted expectations. Expenditures were slightly over budget expectations, coming in at 102% of the annual budget. Rural paratransit fares came in at 7.1% for the year compared to operating costs. Ridership was, operating costs budgeted. Ridership was up 6.6% for the quarter and 2.3% for the year. Passenger revenues were, as expected, coming in at 101% of the budgeted expectations. Expenditures were lower than budget expectations at 80% of the annual budget, as less service hours were operated than initially anticipated. This efficiency of the system came in at three passengers per service hour for the year, which is in line with our pre-pandemic standards. Urban paratransit fares finished the year at 8.1% of operating costs. Ridership was up 16% for the quarter and 4.9% for the year. Passenger revenues came in at 103% of the budgeted expectations, and expenditures were 93% of budgeted expectations. The efficiency of this system is holding steady at 3.2 passengers per hour, which is up from 3.1 for last fiscal year. There was one preventable accident for the quarter, with 358,451 miles driven, and there were 5 valid complaints for the quarter, which is within reason for 155,420 rides given. Any questions?
I'm new to this. The fare box funding percentages is our system similar to the rest of the systems out across the nation, or is there a national average to that? I'm just curious.
I don't know if there's a national average. In California, we have TDA funding from the state, which had previously had a fare box recovery ratio that we were mandated to meet, to show that there was some buy-in from the people using it, and it wasn't just 100% subsidized. But the subsidy amount, the fact that we are subsidized by the federal government as well as the state, that's very common throughout the United States and other systems.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any questions? All right, we're gonna adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting will be October 26th, right here. I will not be at that meeting. Class dismissed.